And welcome to Hannity. Now, breaking tonight, anti-Israel protests, they continue to rage on college campuses all across the country. It is more clear now than ever before. The inmates are absolutely running the asylum at colleges and universities. Take a look at your screen. We have nothing but stunning images out of Los Angeles as police move to break up the anti-Israel encampment, this at UCLA. Early this morning, protesters were rounded up. Police were seen removing the masks that were used to hide the protesters. Good, I like that idea. And their identities. Ultimately, more than 200 were arrested. Meanwhile, protesters at Portland State actually charged at police officers. And look at them. They're using cut-up trash cans as makeshift shields. Can't make this up. Take a look.
Stop, you're under arrest. Stop, you're under arrest. Hey, stop! Get away! I got it right now. Hey, stop!
Boy, that looks like an insurrection to me. And at George Washington University, our nation's capital, a statue of Washington was defaced while protesters broke out into vile anti-Semitic chanting. Listen to this. Intifada revolution. Sadly, this is not even the worst of it. Earlier this week, Northwestern University, they actually caved to the mob. And among their concessions, a promise to fund 2 visiting Palestinian faculty per year, in addition to the, quote, full cost of attendance for 5 Palestinian undergraduates to attend Northwestern for the duration of their undergraduate careers, and a promise to, quote, fundraise to sustain this program beyond the current commitment. Have they not learned what we were telling you last night, how kids in Gaza, Palestinians, are indoctrinated to hate and to want to kill Jews from the time they are little? Cartoons, books in school. How do you possibly ascertain or vet whether or not they've been radicalized? Northwestern caving to the ridiculous negotiations did not come without consequences. 7 members of Northwestern's President's Advisory Committee on Anti-Semitism and Hate, they resigned yesterday. Good for them. And the school is now also facing a civil rights complaint filed by a nonprofit legal organization. Now, these anti-Semitic protests are serving as free propaganda for terrorist organizations, those that promote hate and violence and convert or die. And if you're one of these radical students who have been expelled for protesting, let not your heart be troubled tonight. You can find a safe harbor in the world's #1 state sponsor of terrorism. That's right, Iran, where the head of one of the Iranian universities is reportedly now offering scholarships. That's free. You don't even need loan forgiveness from Joe Biden. They're going to give scholarships to any student kicked out of their school in the U.S. and Europe over the protesting. Now, I think it might be an interesting experiment when they actually see what is the harsh reality and brutal reality for life for them in Iran. Let them try and protest there in Iran. Let's see how the mullahs react to all that. Let's see how that works out for them. Let's see how women's rights are non-existent. Let them learn about that, too. Learn how women must be fully covered or they risk being beaten. Let them see members of the LGBTQ community murdered, thrown off buildings. They might actually get a real education. Now, of course, our fearless leader, Joe, your president in the White House, is, as always, a day late, $1 short. East Palestine, a day late, and a year short. Now, this morning, after the country has been witnessing for days and days and days and days of violence, mass arrests over these hate-filled anti-Israel protests, President Biden, the pressure finally got to him, and he broke his long silence on the protests. He's a real leader of moral courage. Watch this very uninspiring message. Take a look.
Let's be clear about this as well. There should be no place on any campus, no place in America for anti-Semitism or threats of violence against Jewish students. There is no place for hate speech or violence of any kind, whether it's anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or discrimination against Arab Americans or Palestinian Americans. It's simply wrong. There's no place for racism in America. It's all wrong. It's un-American.
Not exactly inspiring. The statement was frankly pathetic. And by the way, what Islamophobia is he referencing? Where does he see that happening right now in this country? Is he even watching what is unfolding? Does he know that today is Thursday? This was, the time that Biden, was to deliver a strong condemnation of virulent, repulsive anti-Semitism that we're seeing. But as usual, he failed miserably. Remember, he helped the mullahs in Iran get rich again so they can fight proxy wars. Remember, Joe Biden, lifted the sanctions, even purchased oil from Iran and allowed Iraq to give them $10 billion and wanted to give them $6 billion in a ransom exchange. Meanwhile, before heading into court this morning, former President Donald Trump offered this harsh rebuke of the protesters. Maybe Joe can learn a thing or two. Take a look.
And just so you understand, this is the radical left. This is a movement from the left, not from the right. The right is not your problem. Don't worry about the right. The right's fine. Worry about the left, because this is a movement from the left. These are radical left lunatics. And they got to be stopped now, because it's going to go on, and it's going to get worse and worse. And, they take over countries, okay? And we're not letting them take over the USA. We're not letting the radical left morons take over this country. You can't let that happen.
This is Joe Biden's all-new, radicalized Democratic Party. This is the squad. This is the climate alarmist religious cult. These are Green New Deal Democrats. These are people that don't have any sense of moral clarity, right and wrong. It should be obvious to anybody. What happened to Israel was a terrorist attack, the worst in their country's history. Not hard to understand when people are slaughtered, murdered, burned, beheaded, raped, kidnapping of all these people. Even little children were beheaded. Florida Congressman Byron Donalds, friend of this program, visited the encampment at George Washington University to witness all the chaos that was going on there firsthand. And in typical liberal fashion, the protesters despicably hurling disgusting racist insults at him. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.